there's a band called the Mountain Goats, and they have an album called Tallahassee. And this album is pretty well recognized on, like, I guess, the internet space and whatnot for having been used in Moral Oral's third season. Now, the thing about Moral Oral is that you would not expect Moral Oral to be good, in a sense. Because, for the most part, it just sounds like a stop motion show that's gonna, well, loud noises outside. Cool, I love them. Moral Oral starts as this just parody show of a kid that lives in this super ultra mega Christian town. And for the general part, what's happening is that the town is surrealist Christian, you know? They're so into their own sauce, into their own Christianity and whatnot, that they oftentimes fail to realize all the mistakes in the teachings that they're giving the kid. Oftentimes, like, suppose there's a zombie invasion, and instead of focusing on the zombie invasion, they're like, no, 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 the problem is that the zombies are naked, and being naked is bad. It's indecent. You know, that kind of stuff. There's just a ridiculous amount of tunnel vision within the town. And so, for the most part, at the start of the show, you think, oh, this is just some sort of satire. A big old satire on religion, which, you know, many satires on religion exist. It's like one of the most satirized things in history. And for good reason. It's just a thing that is, you know? It's like, but then you have this show, Moral Oral, who at some point has these brief moments of absolute brilliance. Moments where the story stops being just, oh, look at the parody of the thing we're doing, and becomes something greater than that. It becomes this weird drama set up in this weird, surreal world. And at that point is when you realized, holy shit. All along, it turns out, Moral Oral has been a drama. At some point, it just starts pivoting into a beautiful, beautiful drama in setting this crazy world that is a parody world. It was created to be a massive parody of something. And so what you get is is legendary. Moral Oral is just a legendary show. And I wish I could explain exactly all the many ways it's legendary, but sometimes you need extra time. All you have to know is by the time the third season came around, they basically canceled the show. They didn't want to do any more of the show. They said, fuck it, no more show for anybody. And so we end up in the current setting, in the current world, in the current moment, where I guess Moral Oral exists as a rushed third season that had to rush through most story beats. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. Because let me be clear. On a base level, I think it is a bad thing, right? I don't think I like shows getting cancelled or anything like that. It makes me sad when they cancel a show I'm watching, and I'm like, I was having a good time with a show. I just don't regularly like when that happens. But I guess in this case, I feel like maybe part of the reason why the show came out so beautifully in season 4 was partially as a result of just the show having to be rushed to be finished. Since they had to rush the ending of the show in a weird way, I feel like that just made the final few episodes of the show a little bit more legendary than they would be otherwise. Otherwise, they might have taken their time. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure that the creator did want to just get on and do all those things basically off the bat. They 100% intended the show to fully become a drama at some point. And so it's just kind of a weird situation where, like, on one part I am sad that the show got cancelled. On the other part, I do wonder if the cancellation ended up benefiting the show to some extent. Regardless of all that, what we do have is an absolutely impeccable third season where we actually see tons of things that used to just be things in this show. just little details that the show had used for comedy and whatnot, and they become just dramatic set pieces for the world and characters that they wanted to set up for Moral Laurel. Um, and it just makes for a fantastic show. So starting from the end of the second season, it just sort of starts pivoting into this more gruesome story. It starts talking about the domestic abuse that the characters witness. And what I love about all that domestic abuse and everything is that it is brutal, but it is honestly well written in a way that's just it's kind of exciting. I can't lie. It is kind of really cool how the show managed to use its absurdity to the fullest. It just it is awesome in the best of ways. And I ran out of wood. Oh, well, I can just do a little more. More is good sometimes. So I guess more Orel is a very important show from that perspective. I think it's an important show in the sense that like the way they picked up the pieces from being cancelled and created an absolutely incredible final season. I don't think you'll ever see. I don't think we'll ever see it done like that cleanly. And that there's just a beauty to that way of doing it, you know. Anyways, I just built this ugly ass platform. It has no personality. I don't like it, but it's a platform. Makes it look like I built something. Wowee. This is the worst shit I've built in years. You know what this needs? This needs a little bit of rule of thirds. This needs a little bit of tank, 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 tank. This needs a little bit of blub, 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 blub. And then we're gonna probably need more wood in order to make this work. Hold on. So I absolutely adore the second. I guess the third season of More Laurel, but the second season also has really good stuff about it, particularly near the end. The last two episodes are this like two-part duology where we see Orel go on a hunting trip with his dad, and there's just some of the best portrayal of abuse that I've ever seen in a way that genuinely had me amazed, amazed, amazed. That was me. I just I found it incredible how the show used its everything really at that point. You don't often see a show suddenly go that route and do it well because if the writing had just been like, oh, and now we do it seriously, I mean, it would have been cool, but not as cool as what they ended up doing with lines that have insane subtlety. There's a point where Oral's like talking about something bad his dad did to him, and he like reflects it back in a way that's like he words it in a particular way that I think you'd only hear from an abuse victim. And that's just oh, oh holy shit! Instead of sounding accusatory, he's afraid of sounding accusatory, so he delivers the line in a really weird way, and that's just that was lovely. I genuinely think that was lovely, and not because I think it was like nice that he's getting abused. No, but I mean that in the sense that like it is lovely to see a show that started off being like that just get a moment of being well written with such just beauty, I guess. So I guess I gotta say I really like the Moral Laurel for everything it managed to do. All right, I mean this is still not good, but it's a little better as a structure, isn't it? Anyways, time to go to the Nether and do some fun stuff. And then the third season also comes in blazing, right? After the finale of the second season, the third season's kind of like this full-on story. What's my rough coordinates? Holy. Wait, is this just really close to spawn? No, it's not. Holy. I thought it was closer to spawn, but it ain't. Hmm. Point is, no, I need to get home from the nether. So that's fun. Actually, let me get the coordinates of the place properly. Good. Important. Hold on, let me write them down. Minus 780. 779. Minus 454. 454? Yeah, 454. Alright. And I travel back home to the best of my abilities from the nether. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. But yeah, the final season has many moments that kind of call back, including an episode where, like, the main character's repeatedly killing himself so he could talk to God because he's been banned from going to church. It's like, yeah, sure, that's the ridiculousness of the show. Just the absurdity of the statement is still insane there. But I absolutely adore that the show manages to work with it really well. It manages to work with it by just, oh, wow, that went wrong. It manages to like run with it so insanely cool. I personally adored the way the show handled it. Hold on, whatever. So ultimately, I think that third season of Moral Oral kind of improves the entirety of what the show is, like a lot, and it made it quite a bit enjoyable. I personally really like that final season as a result. So I liked Moral Oral quite a bit, and now I bring it up quite a bit, even on videos and whatnot. I think they did a good job with it. Oh my god, I am almost at the top of the nether. How did I not realize this? How am I gonna get down? There's no reach around block placing. How how does one do this? Do I just have to do 90,000 rounds? Oh boy. Oh boy, I'm in a little bit of a pickle. TLDR, I very much recommend Moral Oral. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Oh no. Okay, let me pause the video so I can get my bearings and then we can talk about that. There is an hypocrisy when it comes to Moral Oral and its cancellation. And it's kind of a sad situation with its hypocrisy. It doesn't always sit well with me. See, one of the episodes depicts Orel being thought sex wrong, and so what he ends up doing is he basically ends up jerking off into a pastry bag and planting babies on the entire town. Like, that is messed up. No matter how you dice it. Yeah, no, it is fucking messed up. But it's obviously in the show. It's obviously played mostly for the joke. It's kind of a massive gag in the episode. Like, haha, this kid was taught sex wrong because, oh no, we're too afraid to actually teach children shit they should know without mincing words. So now this bad thing happened. That was always supposed to be the message of that episode. And, it's a whatever message. That episode itself is just whatever. It's not really the problem. The problem with the situation is that once this show actually got into talking about genuine abuse issues, actually sat down with the audience and was like, hey, let's talk about this shit. For some reason, the moment that happened, yeah, no, the creators found themselves unable to deliver certain things or do certain things. So in the third season, there's this insanely hard-hitting episode, which I don't want to discuss too much, but it does portray like several characters who were in horrible abusive relationships. And a lot of them are not even related to any sort of religious topic. It's just, you know, different characters that had horrible things happen to them and there are different ways they cope with it. And sometimes it's with anger, sometimes it's with sadness, sometimes it's with fear. And it's just a heavy fucking episode, man. I don't think there's an episode of television that hit me that hard in a long time. So no, props to Moral Laurel for creating that episode, but it pisses me off so much that the episode where they played this genuine problem of society as a joke always got a pass, while this other episode basically was in contention to be banned for being too scary or being too weird. I'm like a little drill in this game. Look at me. Little drill. I'm a little drill. I never thought I'd be a little drill in my life. But here we are. I'm a little drill. Drilling a hole in the nether. Because it's faster to just, you know? It's amazing because I'm not gonna use this path for anything. There we go. We should be basically home. I recognize this place. So I guess I wanted to talk about how much I dislike that specific bit of hypocrisy that happened with Moral Oral. It was just kind of a sad thing to see, you know? When the show actually discussed something serious, people weren't willing to fuck with it. Even though when they discussed the same issue through comedy, people were fine with it. And I guess it still makes sense, because it's still, you know, it's a comedy show. Suddenly the comedy show getting all serious probably didn't click so much with the investors, and I don't think I'm too angry with like the network over the cancellation, because I feel like, yeah, the show probably did not hit its stride as much if it wasn't for that final season of gloriousness. And there are some sad things tied to it, but for the most part, I thought Moral Laurel was just a really good show. And I appreciate good shows. And maybe if it hadn't been cancelled, the show wouldn't be as good. So, you know, I guess that's my tiny grain of salt to the conversation. Now, if you excuse me, I need to connect some nether stuff. Moral Oral, for me, gets an S tier. Absolutely fantastic show. I will be thinking about it for a long time. The music they use in the show is really good. And that's why I started this review talking about Tallahassee by the Mountain Goats and the song No Children, which was used in the show. Just an absolutely incredible usage of music. And that whole entire episode hits. It just hits perfectly. Alright. Let's do some Nether Portal connection next time.